Imagine this. You have had aspirations all your life to become a famous film director. You've finally saved enough money to release your magnum opus, a film you're sure is a guaranteed blockbuster. However, when it is finally time to put it in theaters, you can't get your foot in the door. Not even one theater will give you the time to simply pitch your film. You see, some big corporations have an absolute stranglehold on the industry, and you'd be lucky to have your movie played in one theater. These industrial strangleholds are formally known as monopolies, and in many cases they are devastating the media and cinema industry. Throughout this informative piece, you will understand exactly what monopolies are and how they are formed. Additionally, we will dive into the implications that these monopolies have and could continue to have on the media sector. Now, a monopoly is formally understood as an absolute possession or control of the supply or trade in a service or industry. This translates to media as a corporation that controls an exorbitantly large piece of the pie in media. This allows these corporations to bully their competitors and force distributors and consumers to rely on their business because of the sheer amount of capital and stake in the market they own. There are different types of market structures when it comes to economics: perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly. Perfect competition is a market in which all the buyers and sellers are so informed and so numerous that the price of goods are out of the control of individual buyers and sellers. An oligopoly is when a market is shared by only a small amount of producers or sellers, and a monopoly is where one individual or company owns all of a market. These structures have multiple ways they can achieve this ultimate control. Vertical integration, for example, is when a company merges with another company in which those two companies control a different part of the supply chain. This integration causes one company to own more than one stage of the supply chain, such as manufacturing, distribution, and retail. On the other side, horizontal integration is when a company merges with another company that controls the same stage of the supply chain. Both of these types of integration are beneficial to a company's bottom line and making the companies the most money, but in the end it is detrimental to the consumers and can lead to monopolies. Some examples of this include the failed Comcast and Time Warner merger and the Disney and Fox merger, which is currently being investigated, in which 4 giants of media merge into just 2, inching closer to an oligopoly and maybe even a monopoly. Now, think of Comcast. They have proved to show many monopolistic tendencies as of late in manners of both horizontal and vertical integration. Comcast currently serves as a content creator, cable company, and an internet provider. These 3 facets of their company allows them to film a show, send it out through their own TV services, and later process it into an on-demand format for the internet. Throughout these 3 services, they are a clear example of vertical integration. Disney's acquisition of Fox has gone without major pushback due to Disney's influence on pop culture, and this merger could spell disaster for the types of news and originality of new entertainment to come. Not only do monopolistic practices force us to pay whatever companies like for their content and services, but it may also infringe upon our rights of free speech and restrict our freedom of thought. Fox is a major news source from which countless people gather their information about what's happening in the world. With even less individuals to answer to through this merger, the news could become skewed, biased, or even neglected based on the whim and ideals of their new owners. Media companies have continued to consolidate over the years, from over 50 in the early 1980s to only 6 firms controlling every aspect of the media. This has resulted in bias in the news and information society has access to. Media outlets are conduits to information and opinion. Since only 6 firms own these media outlets, how are we supposed to exercise our basic human right to free speech and individual expression? As we can see, competition proves to be good for us, while one company controlling the media landscape can be bad for originality and pricing, while restricting our access to social and political viewpoints. Media has the power to influence us in many ways. Do you believe one company should have control over that complete extreme power?